6:30. Reminder to everybody who's here, the meeting is being digitally recorded, so please be respectful of each other as you speak, as well as you're listening to each other. Is anyone here for open session? Okay. Katie, announcements?
Yep. So if you missed it, we had the Dinghy Dash on August 26th at 10 a.m. It was not postponed, luckily. The weather was
Perfect.
Yeah, it came out perfect. It was actually kind of hot. We had 11 boats come out, and a lot of them sank. I have a lot of really fun footage on all different social medias. But yeah, it was a good day. Lots of little kids too. They worked really hard on their boats. Most of the kids sank though, I'm not gonna lie. Most of the kids sank. But they did a really good job making their boats. They worked hard. So it was fun. Nate was our judge. Jeff came out, and Chief was there helping me guide some traffic. Mike was there. He took first in the adult.
No.
Yeah, I know, shocker. And then the second for adult, I actually had to look at the rules real quick because I couldn't remember the rules that we wrote, and because both of the other two adults sank. So I'm like, uh-oh, I know this. I wrote rules about this. I know I did. Quick, let's look them up. So the rules are the person in the water the longest without sinking. So that nice woman that was out there for like,
God.
12 minutes before she finally sank. Way out in the middle of the pond. She worked hard for that sink. She ended up taking second. And the kids did great, and there was a Kid 3 group vessel that did really well too. They came in, they actually were pretty fast. They were like 3 minutes. But yeah, so everyone did well. If you missed it, come next year. It's super fun to watch. Bring your camp chair. It's just entertaining, and I'll tell you right now though, build a boat because it's even funner if you actually do it. So there was also the other thing that happened this past weekend was at Plainview, the Fall Festival. If you didn't go to that, we had a lot of local businesses and crafters and artists and things like that out at the farm, and it was a fun day. They changed them out too. Both days were a little bit different, so it was a good day. Definitely they do a spring and a fall fair, and there's a lot of local stuff there and a lot of great gifts for like Mother's Day or Christmas and things like that. So I would definitely recommend next spring to check out their spring fling. But that was this past weekend. Now, coming up, we have this Saturday, in case you missed it, the 5K annual. It's the 26th annual for the library. If you want to enter, you can still enter. The applications are on the library website, and it starts at 9 a.m. and they run down Elm Street, correct? They still running down Elm Street? Yes. So all the information is on the library's website, but they have applications, and again, it's this Saturday at 9 a.m. And then coming up on the 16th, the following weekend, from 9 to 2, the Lions are having field day down at the rec field. That's always a fun day, so definitely go check that out. And again, that's September 16th from 9 to 2. The 23rd, September 23rd, is townwide yard sale. If you would like to be on the map, all you have to do is email special events, Hubbardston250 at gmail.com. Put in the subject line, townwide yard sale, and just give me your name and address, and I'll put you on the list. Yeah, I don't post names, but the addresses will be on there. It's free to be on the map, and the maps will be free as well. So again, that's September 23rd, and the deadline for that, I think I put like the 19th or something. It's a Monday. Whatever the Monday is, it's for September. And then the last thing coming up this month is September 30th. The Boy Scouts are having a bottle and can drive from 8 to 12 at the rec field. So all those beer bottles and soda cans and stuff that kind of magically appear over Labor Day weekend that you all have in a big old bag, save those for us. We'll be at the rec field on the 30th, and you bring them on down, and all the money goes to the Boy Scout Troop 22. So they definitely appreciate that. And that's all we got going on for September.
Thank you. Again, thank you for
Yep.
all that you do with the Dinghy Dash and your family
Fun
and
stuff,
everybody that
yes.
helps. We appreciate that. Any comments or questions on that? Okay, we have consent agenda here. Let me go through it with everybody and then go to the other business. First of all, we have the approval of the August 7th, 2023 Select Board meeting. I believe we were all there. Also, part of that is the approval of police department transfer of funds. Resignations, we have Mark Kresge, the land use clerk, effective on September 30th. Appointments, we have Donald Blood, police sergeant, effective 6/30 through 2024. Wage authorizations, Donald Blood, police sergeant, $34.90 per hour. Travis Brown, DPW director, $87,519 annual. Are there any holds in any of these items on the consent agenda? Seeing none, I would ask for a motion to accept the consent agenda.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and second. Is there any discussion, any questions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Yes. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carried. Now we'll move to the fun part. Under new business, the swearing in of Sergeant Donald Blood. First of all, I'd like to give Ryan and you, Don, if you feel like saying anything before the official swearing in, I'd like to give you the opportunity, and we thank everybody who's here for that. So.
Yep. Alright, so I wanted to just go over our process that we did for the promotion. It was a long process. We did a written exam and an oral interview. The written exam, we gave them like 3 months to study. We had 2 candidates internally. Don scored a 93 on the written test out of 100 questions, so we got 93 out of 100 questions right, so which is really high. The gentleman that did it was a retired Shrewsbury chief. That's what he does. He gives these tests, and he said that was one of the higher scores he's seen in a long time. So he did well there. And then there was an oral interview that we had 3 chiefs from southern Worcester County, the Southbridge chief, the retired Dudley chief, and the Grafton chief. So they took some time out of their day to do the oral interview. Again, Don scored higher on that as well, and throughout the entire process, he came out on top for total points, and that's what I based the promotion off of. He's certainly done a lot for the town and the department, so he's a great addition, as a sergeant for us.
Thank you very much. Don, is there anything you would like to say?
I just thank you for the opportunity. I'm grateful for the last 8.5 years that I've been here already, and I look forward to a bunch more.
Thank you. We are grateful for your last 8.5 years also, and we congratulate you and so forth, and hope we can keep you for a while. All right, we'll turn it over to our town clerk for the official swearing in. Candace?
Step over here.
Move wherever you want, but if you're gonna take pictures,
Step right up front.
just tell us to get out of the picture.
Right.
I'm gonna, if you wanna repeat after me.
All right.
Alright, please raise your right hand. I, Donald Blood,
I, Donald Blood,
do solemnly swear and affirm
do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will faithfully and impartially
that I will faithfully and impartially
perform all the duties and responsibilities
perform all the duties and responsibilities
incumbent upon me
incumbent upon me
from my appointment to police sergeant
from my appointment to police sergeant
for the town of Hubbardston
for the town of Hubbardston
in accordance with the rules and regulations
in accordance with the rules and regulations
of the Hubbardston Police Department,
of the Hubbardston Police Department,
the bylaws of the town of Hubbardston,
the bylaws of the town of Hubbardston,
the laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts,
the laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts,
and the Constitution of the United States of America.
and the Constitution of the United States of America.
Sign right there on that first line.
Everybody get the picture?
Congratulations.
Great.
Okay, you wanna pull over here?
Yeah, go on.
Or look over here once you're
Okay.
done. Beautiful.
Turn to your left.
All right,
A
thank
little
you.
bit more.
Anybody else?
Congrats.
No?
I didn't get that one.
Oh, well,
Congrats.
we're fine, don't worry.
Congrats.
Here, everyone from his family, we can have a second to go up there with.
Oh, yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
You guys camera shy?
Yeah, you should go up.
Yes, go up.
Yeah.
I mean, he's all dressed in a suit and tie.
Yeah. Don't waste that.
Well,
There's some good stuff right there.
that's my shade.
What a great picture that is.
Yep.
Sorry about that.
That's right.
Where are we looking first?
Wherever.
I got some.
Nice.
You guys all wanna join them? I can take a
Very
photo
nice.
for you.
He doesn't want a picture with it, Tom, and we'll take that picture. You should get one. That's right. Go to,
Yeah.
go to your side.
You should get in there.
Sorry.
Smile.
Pops, get a little closer to him.
That's as close as we
It's
get.
right.
Are we sure came in now?
Yes.
Yeah, so it was one, now we
Yeah.
can make it sound two.
Take a picture. Oh,
Hold on, we got another one.
At
least
You have to be in there.
Nice.
I really
Yeah.
think the only one not right.
Oh,
Oh,
wait, no, get back in.
Oh.
Now you're. She was waiting. Okay.
You look sharp there, young man. I feel underdressed.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very
Get a
good.
picture with that.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Good job.
Have a good night. I can move along.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
All right, write some tickets.
He does.
I know. I read the paper.
Okay, moving on, is the quorum reduction discussion. So we'll open it up at this time. Is there anything, first of all, Nathan, you wanna make us aware of?
Yes, did
And
everyone,
then I'll turn it over to you, Chris, for your first, since if you presented this to us, and we'll go from there.
did everyone have the opportunity to read the document from legal counsel?
Yes.
So, what I wanted to point out before starting the discussion, basically what I'm looking for this evening is a vote on if this is something we wanna move forward with initiating and doing the process and calling the moderator and scheduling the hearing, et cetera. But just, I do want it to be known that we will have to do this each individually for, say, the upcoming town meeting and so forth at each town meeting until this COVID Act is done. If we wanted to move forward and change the quorum across the board, we would have to do so by amending the general bylaws, which would be a 2/3 vote at town meeting and then to send to the state legislature, to the Attorney General's office. Not saying it cannot be done, because it likely could, but it would be a lot more difficult than let's contact the moderator and take a vote. So, thank you.
Just one quick question before I turn it over to Chris. Just for my own knowledge here. Once post-COVID, let's just hypothetically say we would go ahead with something and we come up with a number. I think Chris was suggesting 9, okay? Let's say we had 9. After COVID then, are we stuck with that?
No.
For,
Unless
we
you-
make a change in the charter also again,
Yes,
right?
if you
So
were
you
to-
can't just overnight,
Nope.
figuratively speaking, decide, okay, that was an experiment, we don't like it, or maybe not.
Yeah.
We have to live with it.
So the only question I would have to answer was, if from a previous conversation with Chris, was could we just do the whole lot of them? Like all all of the town meetings from now until X date in 2025, that's the only question that I need an answer for remaining. But we haven't gotten that far regardless.
So, I have one question before you get to Chris. So at every meeting we go to, we have to put it to the moderator and to be approved to lower, so the
Unless they
people
say
vote
we
on
can do
it?
them all at one, no, the people don't need to vote on it.
Okay, yeah, cause it's quorum based, so. So it just has, it's up to the moderator.
It's up to a conversation between you guys and the moderator. I can read this into the record if you would like.
Okay.
You might want to, so
All
that
right.
way everyone can understand what we're talking about.
And it is up on the board, the TV.
Yeah, TV.
This is from Carolyn Murray of KP Law. Hi Nate, the quorum reduction provisions of Chapter 22 of the Acts of 2022 for town meeting remain in effect through March 31st, 2025. The statute provides, Section 15, notwithstanding Section 13 of Chapter 39 of the general laws or any other general or special law, charter provision, ordinance, or bylaw to the contrary, a town may act by vote of its select board or board of selectmen in consultation and with the approval of the town moderator to prescribe the number of voters necessary to constitute a quorum at any town meeting held during the outbreak of the 2019 novel coronavirus, also known as COVID-19, and subsequent variants, at a number that is less than the number that would otherwise be required by law, town bylaw, or town charter, provided however that the number of voters necessary to constitute a quorum shall not be less than 10% of the number that would otherwise be required. The select board or board of selectmen shall publish notice of its intention to consider an adjustment of town meeting quorum requirements under this section not less than 7 days before the vote of the select board or board of selectmen. The select board or board of selectmen shall provide for adequate means of public access that will allow interested members of the public to clearly follow the deliberations of the select board or board of selectmen on making a quorum adjustment as those deliberations are occurring. Not less than 10 days after a vote of the select board or board of selectmen to adjust the quorum requirements under this section, the town clerk shall notify the attorney general of the adjusted quorum requirement. All action taken pursuant to this section are hereby ratified, validated, and confirmed to the same extent as town meeting, la-da-da-da-da, nothing else in there. So then she said, as noted above, to reduce the quorum, the select board needs to consult with the moderator and provide at least 7 days' notice of its meeting at which the board will discuss its intention to adjust the quorum and even vote to reduce the quorum. The statute requires that this notice be published, but does not specify whether that is satisfied by a local paper, website, or a bulletin board at town hall. In my opinion, publication in a local paper would be preferred, but any of these means of providing notice is likely acceptable. Please note that this 7 days notice in addition to posting the select board meeting in accordance with the open meeting law. Please also note that whatever number the quorum is reduced to, it cannot be less than 10% of the number that would otherwise be required. If the select board votes majority vote only to reduce the quorum, the town clerk must notify the attorney general within 10 days. Please let me know if you have any other questions. And my other question to her was, let me get this right, this is only during the COVID rules, and she responded back, yes, that if we wanted to go further, it would have to be by amending the charter or general bylaws.
And even with our discussion tonight, I understand from what you and I talked about earlier, we need to consult with the moderator.
Yes.
So that the discussion tonight, we can't do anything formally to say we're definitely gonna do it at
No.
such and such, because we need to go through that whole.
The
Period of
formal
time.
vote tonight would be to motion to have me and the town clerk
Explore it or not.
seek a time that would work for the moderator. Hopefully our meeting 2 weeks from today and 2 weeks from yesterday, and advertise at least 7 days ahead of that a discussion would be had.
Okay, thank you. Chris, go ahead.
I really don't have much. I mean, I'm still in support of reducing the quorum. Nowhere in that document, what I read and what you just read aloud, did I hear that we would have to do this for every meeting forthgoing.
Yes.
I mean, that's something we need clarity from
Mhm.
KP Law on. If we do it now for this one time, for this upcoming meeting, is it done until March of 2025? You know, so we need to figure that out.
Yep.
You know, and the whole point of this is to be able to function as a board, you know? We don't wanna be chasing quorums. You know, we publicize as best we can. We put it out there time and time again. Sometimes I feel like we're hamstrung, we're chasing our tails to get people to show up at these meetings when we shouldn't have to do that. So I think a reduction in quorum will do two things. Hopefully it'll drive more interest in, you know, the constituents to get to the meeting. And if not, then it provides us the ability to make decisions first time, one time, at the meeting where we can't get the 50-person quorum.
So you can change the quorum at the meeting?
No.
No, you can't.
You would change the quorum
You
at,
have to do it prior to.
yeah, at your, if it was the will of the board,
Do we
we would
have,
do that
how
at the
many
next
times have
meeting.
we not met quorum? I was there once in the last 3 years that we
But,
didn't make quorum.
no, we made quorum every single time. The last
Yeah, they had to
time
make some
we had
calls.
to,
Yeah.
that was years ago. The last time.
That was
it
2
be-
years ago.
Well, the last time I remember doing it, cause it was in the gym and it was before I was on the board.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
you're talking 4 years ago.
Was it that
At
long
least
ago?
4
Okay.
years ago.
Yeah, I remember there was one.
And that's the only time that I've been at a meeting that I've had to try to make phone calls to make a quorum.
So it's an issue, but it's not, hasn't been an ongoing issue for the last couple of years.
I don't, I understand what Chris is saying, and I
Yeah.
get what he's
I
saying,
do
but I
too.
don't think, I think this is going to come off as we're trying to pull a fast one, and I am highly against this.
I couldn't disagree with you more. How are we trying to pull a fast
I'm not
one
saying
when we're
that.
when we're publicizing meetings and we're putting it out there?
Yes.
The goal of this is to get more people to meetings,
I
not
get
to
it.
pull a fast one and make decisions with 9 people.
But that's not the perception of what it will
Well,
be. It's the same
The
thing,
perception and the reality are two different things.
but I'm
And
telling
no
you,
one's gonna get the reality because nobody watches these meetings and nobody goes to town meeting. So the only way for, hopefully, to get them the reality of what's going on is to get them to town meeting.
so.
Now, if this tactic is the only way we can do that, then I'm all for it. If people fear that we're trying to pull a fast one, maybe they'll get to town meeting and get involved in the community.
That's what was said repeatedly at our last town meeting when we tried to change, or we didn't try to change, it's in our charter for us to try to change from those few boards from elected to appointed. And basically it was said over and over and over again to people that came up to the mic saying, no, it's a slippery slope, this doesn't need to change, it needs to be elected. This is, yeah, and it came off as like we were trying to do something, and Mike's shaking his head, cause that's how it came off. That we were trying to do something that the townspeople didn't want, and this is the same, this is how this will go. It's gonna be perceived that same way. I understand what you're trying to do to get people to come, and to make sure we do have it, I understand, and it's not, what we're doing is legal, it's not illegal, we're checking with legal to make sure we do it correctly, but there's a difference between doing it correctly and the way it is perceived, and I don't think we should go down this rabbit hole, cause we
There's no difference
haven't
between those
made,
two things. If we do something correctly, we're doing it correctly.
but we haven't had a problem making quorum other than
We've
that
struggled to
one.
make quorum every meeting, we're all sitting there holding our breath every
No,
meeting, and you
I'm
know
not
that.
holding my breath, they'll come,
Okay, all right.
I'm not overly concerned about it.
We'll disagree on that point too then. But, you know, I think it's incumbent upon the citizens to get to these meetings. And if this is the only way to drive them there,
Well,
which it seems to be at this point, because I don't wanna be hamstrung in a meeting because we're scrambling trying to get 50 people in the building, making phone calls to all our friends and
but if it goes through and we only have 10 legal voters there, and we passed all this stuff, what do you think's gonna happen
Who's to
then?
blame? What is it a concern of ours? Who's to blame if there's only 10 registered voters there? Who's to blame? You, me, this
No.
town, this board? No.
No, but that's
It's
still,
the citizens of the town who have been more than well informed about the upcoming meeting in several different ways, who don't
I
make the
agree.
effort to go out there.
I agree.
So you wanna kowtow to people who don't wanna put in the effort, but they wanna complain
No,
about
I
the
just
situation.
wanna leave it alone at 50. I think 50 is a low enough number to at least get some kind of representation
And
of
we've had it at
different-
50 for how long, and we struggle every single
We
time.
don't,
What's gonna
they
change?
show up though. We
What's
don't
gonna change?
struggle.
What do you think is gonna change?
I don't think anything's gonna change. I think it's gonna be status quo. I think
So you wanna leave it, at a number that
That
we
is
struggle to
achievable.
meet and achieve sometimes.
it hasn't, we haven't not had a meeting, have we?
Not without intervention.
No, only one.
No, I disagree.
On another note, I would hope that if you as a board were going to move forward with this, a sub-note of also getting people to go would be that you are hesitant of the ability to reach quorum during the new variant of the coronavirus, because that is why this
Yeah, most of the people missed out.
opportunity, no, and I know that, but
I, let me say this. I see where she's coming from, I see where you're coming from. But I think with all the financial stuff that's going on right now, I feel that people in town are thinking that we're gonna try and push some things through that they're not gonna like. So they're gonna have to show up, you know what I mean? So I think put a mailer out to the town, to the registered voters.
about town
We
meeting.
do. Oh, do you see
I
that stack
can
in
go
the
get
other
it.
room?
There's a big stack.
There's a stack this big.
There always is, yeah.
There always is.
Always is.
No, on what our thought process is on quorum,
Oh, for this?
yes.
Okay.
Well, we're still thinking about it too. 'Cause
I agree, but, I mean, like I said, I've only been to one town meeting where we couldn't make quorum in 4 years. So, what number were we thinking to drop? I mean, what are we?
9.
Drop it to 9?
We can't.
I think it would have to be
That's too
10.
much.
Why?
That's too much.
Because in this, in that legal, the minimum
No,
would
it
be
doesn't.
10.
You're misinterpreting. It could be 9.
No, it's 10% of what is
10% of
now.
50.
So
It
10%
can't,
of
it
50.
can't be less than 10% of 50.
Yeah, so
What's 10%
9,
of 50?
10.
And is 9 less than 10?
Yes.
Okay.
So it can't be that.
What's 10% of 50?
Just a minute, Mike.
Well, no, I'm missing something. I'm
Do
doing math.
the math.
Yeah,
10% of 50 is
Is 5.
5. Thank you.
5. Sorry. Yep, nope, let's do math.
I'd like to.
Sorry, Chris.
I'd like to jump in here too. First of all, before I mention what some of my thoughts, I support you on this, Chris, in terms of the idea of changing the forum. But I did some investigation in terms of, thanks to Candace, she gave me some interesting figures that I didn't know of, and then I went and I'm not comfortable with the number, it was at the time 9, that you were putting forth. I learned some things today that I hadn't realized. For example, we have 3,520 registered active voters. Active is the key word because there are 12 inactive voters we have in town.
Okay.
But we have 3,520 registered voters. Population of Hubbardston's now 4,203. That was a shock. I thought we were still up around 4,900. But that's where we're at. So then I started doing some math. Our present quorum was 50, correct?
Yes.
50 out of the 3,520 is 1.4204% of the of the registered voters.
1.42?
1.42%.
So that's at 50.
Nine voters out of the 3,520 would be 0.2556%. Now, the reason I'm mentioning all of this is why it isn't sitting well with me on the smaller numbers is I totally understand, because I've seen it for 11 years, I totally understand where you're coming from, and I support you, Chris, on that. But when we get into small numbers, to Katie's point also, this could work for us And it could also bite us in the you know what. On a key issue, I'm just theoretically saying, let's say we had a quorum of 9, theoretically, okay? And we had an important meeting, and 9 people showed up, 5 votes, or 0.142% of the town would decide up or down a very important, or could conceivably, decision. So I did the math because it bothered me to be under 1% of the town. It's bad enough showing, is 1.42% for the present quorum, but to just get to 1%, you need to have 35 people as a quorum. That just represents 1% of the town. So I don't have a solution here. I'm just throwing these out as things I think.
Did you happen to ask Candace how many people actually showed up for numbers at all of our last few meetings? Because I know it's over 50.
Oh yeah, this last one, no, I didn't ask her that. I was just dealing with quorum numbers. My 11 years, I can remember 3 times where we could not conduct business. The 4th time, we literally, Dan, the entire board, were on the phone.
That was probably
On the
4
phone.
years ago.
It might have taken 45 minutes to an hour to get people to come down, and finally, good, we can do business, and we had to do it quickly because some of the people didn't want to stay there that long, and if we lost the quorum.
Yeah.
So it is a very real problem, so I do support the thought of changing it. I'm just not comfortable with the number that you're suggesting right now, so I just present these as my feelings on that, so, yes.
Chair, should the board.
Mike, I'll go to you in a minute, I'm sorry.
Should the board decide to move forward with this, that data will be made available. Like, I will show up for that hearing with the last few years, if not 10 years.
I would do 10 years,
Yeah.
10 years.
Including special meetings.
Yeah.
Because the special meetings are usually the ones that are super painful, to try to get people to, especially if we end up having like 3. Yeah.
Unless it has to do with the school.
Yeah.
From what
Usually
I'm
does.
hearing, if this was pushed forward, I would ask Candace to write a letter to Renee. If Renee said no, from the language sent forward to us, it seems like it would be dead in the water.
Right.
That's the way I read it too,
Yeah.
I'm not even sure why it is that way, but.
And another point too, that a negative effect it could have, let's say, because if you look at the makeup of a lot of the people who come to the town meetings, etc., especially on key issues, and who don't go and vote or whatever, a lot of times it can be the negative. And of course, no matter what happens at town meeting, assuming it gets past the town meeting, the final decision is at the ballot. My point being, another thing that, negatively speaking, in terms of whatever number, if it's too small, it could be voted down at town meeting, which means it's not gonna be on the ballot unless you do an initiative thing, get by citizens, and that could be where we get bitten in the you-know-what, because it gets stopped right there. So I think we need to definitely pursue this, in my opinion, but do some serious thinking in terms of numbers, is my opinion, but I do totally support you on
Well, I'm
this.
open to the number, what number do you think is a more
Well-
amenable number?
45.
I wasn't putting one forth. I personally feel we should at least be having 1% of the people as part of the quorum. And the number to
And
get to
what was
1%
it,
is 35. It comes out to be 0.9943%.
And why do you think you need, why do you want 1%? What's driving the 1%? Cause it's an even number? It's an even percentage?
No, I'm just thinking, because of all the numbers that I figured out, it bothered me that out of 3,520 registered voters, we average, if you talk the 50, just barely over 1% of the vote, and that, so to get something smaller than that, it bothers me to be making big decisions for the townspeople know,
every decision that comes to the floor is a
Yeah.
big decision.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why it's coming to the floor.
but with only just 1% or less than 1%.
It's not ideal, and I agree with everything you're saying.
Yeah,
And I'd like nothing more than to see 2,000 people in that auditorium at every single town meeting. But history tells us that's just not reality. You know?
oh, no question,
And
yeah.
if people don't have an interest in what's going on in their town enough to take 2 hours to go to town meeting, then nothing we do is gonna get them there, and we've seen that time and time again, every time we have a meeting.
So,
I
let's,
totally agree with you on
let's go
that.
with, okay, so on a non-presidential election, so you roughly have, what, 200 voters that come out?
It depends if there's actual people running against each other.
Yeah,
The
so-
last couple haven't had any, so there hasn't been a good turnout.
It's been 100 and something.
Yeah, but when there's people actually running against each other, there's, you
Not
know,
that really has anything to do with quorum.
Right, and we have no control over that either.
Right, but I'm just trying to get a feel for where we're at, that's all, in my own mind. I personally think 9's too low, me personally, but.
that's technically nobody would be sitting there, it'd be the, select board and the finance committee.
What do you mean, nobody would be sitting there?
I'm just
Sitting
saying,
where?
that in theory, that could happen.
That's true.
Theoretically, it could.
Yeah. Thought of that.
Do I
That's
hope
why-
it does?
this is
No.
why I'm totally
I
against
just
this
got
and
through telling you, I'd
in
love to see
all
2,000
shapes
people
and
in that
forms.
auditorium.
I know, so would I, you know, like when my kids were young, I could
So
not
what
get
have,
to
what have we
meetings.
not tried that's gonna drive that?
There's nothing you're going to do to drive that.
Okay, so why are we
Even if
gonna
you
stick
drop it
ourselves
down.
with this number?
Because I
You,
think
you're telling me we got a
at
problem we
least-
can't solve, but you don't wanna solve it on the front end to fix the number, to make it easier up for us to have town meetings and
But that's the
and make
thing, we're not,
decisions.
it's not like it's a huge problem.
Mike, I'm sorry.
I don't
didn't-
find it being a problem.
Continue with the discussion.
Okay.
I
You
think
had
the
your hand up
perception,
and I-
the
yeah.
people
Thank
are
you.
gonna perceive that the perception is sneaky.
Yes,
What we're trying to do
and I
is
don't want
be
anything to
sneaky.
do with it.
And that's my perception, if I was a resident, well, if I was a just
Not selectmen, if you were
not a
just a
select board
regular
person,
resident.
not involved with anything, I'd be saying to myself,
What the hell are
what are they
trying
trying to
pass?
pull? What are they trying to slide by us? So it should spur some people to get involved.
Or at least ask that question, I'd love for
Hopefully.
people to ask that question.
Yeah, you know
Say,
what I
hey,
mean?
why are you guys trying to do this? Are you trying to pull the wool over our eyes?
Right.
I'll say, no, we're trying to do this because we
Right.
want more
I
people
mean, I
involved.
like the idea
We've tried
because-
3 ways from sideways to
Yeah.
get more people
I
involved.
think-
We can't be paralyzed at town meeting to make decisions. Sometimes we have to struggle to get enough people to
I
make
think it would
decisions.
raise some eyebrows.
Town meetings cost money,
Yep.
you know, I mean, it's,
Yeah, they
it's
do. No.
all those reasons.
So there's, there's pros
No
and
one
cons.
says you can't come. No
But
one
this,
says you can't
but
come.
this will also cost money if we have to go through this and jump through this and do public meetings and all this other stuff. This will cost us money each time we have to do this if we have to do it each time.
Well, we're
So
checking on
either
that.
way, it's going
No, we're
to
checking
cost
on
us
that.
money.
That may not be the case.
Putting it in the paper will be approximately $250 to $300.
We don't have to put it in the paper. She said that is what she would
Nah.
prefer, but she
Yeah.
said there's other ways we can do it.
Transparency,
I don't want anything to do with any of this. My vote is no, I'm telling you right now.
to go forward.
Any
I
of
would
this.
think you'd have
Any
to
of
at
this.
least put it in the
With the discussion,
Barry,
okay.
Yeah.
Barry
I
paper,
just
you
don't
know
want
what I
anything
mean?
to do with any of
Because,
this.
I mean,
I just,
yeah, so,
no.
I mean, you could do a mailing and people are still gonna say they can get it in the mail, you know, and it just that's what the way people are. They just don't wanna be involved. And with all the financial stuff coming up, I don't think it's good timing. But it is what it is.
I agree, and to your point, based on, again, the years I've been here on the board, my experience is there are always gonna be people who are questioning everything we're doing. The minute it goes against what they want, there's gotta be an ulterior motive on the part of what we've done.
Yeah.
So that it really doesn't matter, the issue, however it goes, that you're gonna get that kind of kickback. But I would like to, with the exception of Katie, cause I think I know her opinion now.
I pretty much made it very clear.
Let me ask the rest of you then, are you interested in going forward by pursuing, to get more information? Have
Well,
another
it
meeting
makes
with
no
this and
sense
have
because
have
it
the
makes no
moderator
sense.
come to,
If Katie's a no vote, it makes no sense. She's made the decision for the select board and the moderator.
not necessarily.
Of course she has, because we need a unanimous vote.
Oh, this has to
This
be,
board.
no, 50%,
Majority.
majority,
I thought you said it was unanimous.
no. Majority vote.
Read through that again, please.
Yeah, he said majority vote.
I heard unanimous.
Mike, what would you wanna ask or say?
Mike Stahl, 5 Lombard Road. A couple of things is very good points made all around. Regardless, no matter what the number is, it's gonna be arbitrary. So you can reuse the same argument regardless, whether it's 9, 50, 150,
Yeah, you're right.
45, so it's always gonna be arbitrary. Number two, it seems like we're lacking some basic facts, and that would be how many people attended the town meetings and the special town meetings. I
Chris.
think the special town meetings
Chris.
were the ones where quorum was at issue, and is 50 the quorum regardless if it's an annual town meeting?
Yeah.
Or a special, okay. Because I remember being here, a non-resident at the time, but leaning heavily to moving back here. I attended all the annual town meetings the last 4 years. Only the last 2 have I been a resident. And I remember it was at a special town meeting, I didn't make all of those, but if I was in town, I normally tried to schedule my visits to be here, even if it was a special town meeting. So to Pete's point, not everybody is not interested. Granted, I'm an outlier that I
Yeah.
attend so
Yeah.
many meetings and
Yeah.
whatnot, but somebody is interested. And that, I think it was at a special town meeting, I remember I was even making calls, and I was just in the peanut gallery. I was not a resident at that time.
How, was that 4 years ago?
I think it was 4 years
Yeah.
ago.
That was before I was on the board.
But 50
Yeah.
is a number for any kind, any.
Right,
any-
okay, thank you for clarifying
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But I would feel more comfortable, because this issue is being driven by attendance at the town meetings, regardless of what type they are. Get the facts, or go back
We
maybe
have to
5
have-
years.
we have to have
and
numbers to
know
show.
what the numbers have been.
Yeah.
And I know that at least 2 of the, at least the last couple of annual town meetings, there were plenty of people. It was over 100, so we weren't even close to the quorum cutoff. I think it's special town meetings that are the problem. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
So, back to what I was asking, since it is 50%.
It's majority, you
Yeah,
said, yeah, I thought it was
majority.
unanimous, okay.
So, do we wanna go forward, to put this on another meeting and have the moderator here with us and discuss it some more before we actually make a decision?
I'd like to see how he feels about it.
I would too, cause I support the basic idea of it. So, are you okay with that, Chris, if we
Yeah.
do that?
See what he-
Will you at least
I'm-
join us
I-
at the meeting?
I will join you, of course, but yes, there's.
You know, he could be very frustrated, or maybe not frustrated with
Yeah.
quorum, maybe he doesn't care. He's getting paid anyway, so I
Yeah.
don't know whether he's here or,
Yeah, I'm
No,
not sure
Renee's
why
pretty
he
good.
has
He
a
is a
vested
straight
interest
guy.
in it
He'll
either
tell
way,
you.
but-
right.
All right, do we need to do a motion for that, or can we just
No,
informally say let's
Oh,
get?
yeah, you can informally say, get the opinion of the moderator. If we don't wanna, do we wanna have a sit down with the moderator prior to doing the whole public hearing song and dance? Or do we just wanna do it?
Well, it sounds like the ultimate decision lies with him.
The
He can
moderator,
squash it,
yeah.
yeah, so we need to understand what his feelings
Yeah, I think we should
are.
meet with him and,
Of course, yeah. Let's
before any
invite
kind
him
of a
to
public
meeting.
hearing.
Okay.
Yeah, cause there's no sense in going back and forth over it, if he says no, or yes, you know what I mean?
I will invite the moderator to your next meeting, and if he can make it, I will let you know.
And can we have as many figures as we could possibly have by
Yes,
that time?
absolutely.
Special and regular town
Yep.
meetings, please.
Okay, then, good. All right, thank you.
I guess I gotta understand, why do you want the figures? I mean, it's not the figures that we're concerned about, it's the effort to get the figures. It's the effort, the mailings, everything else that we need to do to get the numbers. Yes, we do get enough people,
Mhm,
time and time again.
mhm.
There are times we haven't, few times we haven't. It's the effort involved.
But we still have to do that anyway. We have to do that
We
effort.
don't have to do all the stuff we do.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
No, we don't.
Am I wrong? Well, I don't think I'm
We're
wrong.
obligated to send the mailer,
Yeah, and we have to post it.
and we have, yes.
Yeah.
Of course you gotta post it.
Yeah,
That's-
you have to post it,
It has to
and
be in the newspaper, does it not? town meetings?
It does not need to be in the newspaper, it
doesn't?
has to be posted in.
It can be posted right here.
It has to be
Yeah.
posted in
On
a
the
number.
And it's on our
Board,
website,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it had, one of the 5 or 6 places that it does need to be posted is the town website. So it goes up, I believe, here, the police station, the Mr. Mike's, there are a
Yeah,
couple.
there's a couple of them that they go and post, but yeah, it's, you know, like if the
So
reverse
mailing's
phone call
required
goes
and
out, it goes out.
Posting on the
Usually it doesn't.
website is, and that's all that's required
Yes.
for a meeting, special or town.
For special or town, and notice, obviously, and to do like we will do likely tonight.
What do you mean, notice? You said notice what?
To provide notice in several different locations by posting it on boards at public locations.
Yeah, that's just
Yeah.
tacking it up.
Well, yeah, we have to have the constable go do it.
Cause the other part of this whole thing, but it's for probably another discussion period for something totally different, but it's related not just to the town meetings,
So,
but where we're also small
Can
is
we
the
also-
voting turnout.
can we get cost figures, money figures for the last 5 or 10 voting years? Because
There's
I'd like
going-
to see money spent and money,
There's going
because
to
if
be
you
a
have a
plan.
town meeting, you're spending money, okay? And if you don't have a quorum, you gotta have a special another meeting again, and you're spending money. So, if,
But we've never not made quorum, that's what I'm trying to say. We've never,
well, 4 years ago, we
In
didn't
the
make
recent,
quorum.
in the
So-
recent years, yeah.
But if you look at dollar signs might look, you know what I mean, that's what I'm.
You guys are
looking at.
getting hung up on making quorum. It's not about making, it's about the effort involved in making quorum. It's about the effort.
we have to do the same effort every
No,
time.
we don't. We just had that conversation. He said we don't have to do other things. He said 3 things we have to do.
Yeah.
2 of them you do in-house,
That's what they do.
which takes 2 seconds.
What else do you think we do?
Don't we do robocalls? Don't we call other people? Don't we get
That's-
out there?
that's
and all that
like-
kind of
That's what
stuff?
we're doing now, that's not the
Yeah,
precedent.
but that's not
Right.
like, yeah, that's not like anything, it's what you're thinking is.
Technically, we don't have to, we
There's
don't have to
not-
do that. Technically, we could just sit and say, sorry, folks, go home, we can't do business.
Yeah.
And eventually, the town would get upset enough to be saying, well,
Maybe start
nothing's
coming to
being
town
done.
meeting.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Exactly.
But technically, we do not have to get on the phone to
Yeah.
try to
No,
get people
we don't.
to come to a meeting.
You just go
You're
home.
required to do a mailing at what, $2,000?
We are, we're elected, we're there, and if we can't conduct business,
Mhm.
we,
Wouldn't say
we go home.
$2,000.
No, I think it's like just under 1,000.
1,500 times 50, so $750.
Yeah.
That's what it costs to do a mailing?
Yeah.
Postcard mailing?
Because there's
Well, it's
1,500
a
Plus
sheet.
houses.
paper.
It's a sheet.
1,500 houses, and it's like 50, 60 cents each, so, and then we get a bulk rate.
We need the pro people at the
So,
town meetings to come out.
You're
and
spending
vote.
money to have a town meeting, so what's it cost to have a town meeting?
I think the last time I asked, it was
That's
like,
$750 plus
Okay.
plus my, Candace, and
I think that,
Mary's time. Like, it's not much, except for the outlier that would be that if you guys did like an outdoor town meeting during like peak
Well, I'm just
COVID.
talking town meeting in general.
Well, council's
So, and then you
present
don't,
too,
and
so
you
we're
don't have
paying
enough
them.
people there to vote, so now you've just not wasted, but you're required by law to do this, so, you know, you spend $1,000 or $1,500. I mean, I thought a town meeting was like $2 or $3 grand.
no, it's, okay, so correct me if I'm wrong, but, before.
Well, that's a vote, that's a
before-
vote.
Yeah, before.
Oh, yeah, it's much more expensive to
Okay.
hold an election.
Yeah, okay.
Because you're paying election workers
Yeah,
and
yeah.
police officers, not
So, town
police
meetings,
officers
let's say
here.
$1,000,
Yeah.
because you got a police officer there on duty pay, right?
Well, in Hubbardston, I was speaking from my past experience, in Hubbardston, it can be a constable.
It can be a constable.
In other communities, it has to be a
And
badged
we do have
police officer.
constable there.
Okay, so, well, I've only seen police officers here.
Oh,
No.
we have a constable.
I
We have a
know,
few
but every
constables.
town meeting I've been to, I've seen, I
They
used to
usually come.
used to see the police chief and one other.
Oh, yeah, well,
Are they
A lot of times-
Are they being paid to be there?
At town meeting or at a town election?
Town meeting.
Town meeting, no.
No.
Town election, the
Okay.
constable or the police officer that are
Okay.
at the door is getting
Got it.
paid. Chiefs usually have a vested interest in going to town meeting, cause there are a lot of times where they have something on the budget or
well, they're
an
also
article.
to provide the
and to provide info.
expertise, yeah.
Okay.
We like to have the department people there, like Travis and everything else. Okay, so, we'll go ahead with this and, see what happens, next time we bring it up. All right, thank you all for that.
If I can't reach the moderator, I'll let you guys know in 1 week, cause I've had a little bit of trouble reaching the moderator.
Okay. He's back in school now, I know
I
that.
believe so.
Yeah, he is, yeah. But, okay. And if it doesn't fit him, find him next available date that would fit, because, I think it's important that we would meet with him first before, if we, choose to do anything.
Well, we have to, we don't have a choice.
Okay, moving then to, item D, under new business, KP Law, the, FY
No, sir.
twenty-four rate increase in contract.
Open the town meeting warrant.
Oh, I beg your pardon, thank you, I did skip that. We need a motion to open the town meeting warrant effective, tonight. So, Nathan, I'll turn it over to you and then we'll,
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In your meeting packet, you can find a complete schedule for the town meeting process. In in the spring, I felt like I was sort of like flying by the seat of my pants, like whatever that means, just thinking, oh, this would be cool, let's do that. So I wanted to make sure that we had a set schedule for this year's town meeting, so people know what to expect and not just, oh, here's a brochure and it's random. So what the motion I would be anticipating would be to open the town meeting warrant tonight and advertise its status is open, to be closed at your September 18th, 2023 meeting, 2 weeks from yesterday.
close on the 18th?
Yeah,
Okay,
that's our next one. Alright, I'd like to make a motion to open the town warrant as of tonight, September 5th, 2023.
motion made to, is there a second?
Second.
And second. Any discussion? Any questions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Yes?
Yes.
Opposed? The motion carried.
If the interest is heavy or there's anything that makes us want to keep it open, we can keep it open until your following meeting after that with no problem at all.
And like the last time, we can reopen it if we have to also, yeah. Okay.
How many articles are you looking at?
Not many. Like,
More than 5, less than 5?
right now would probably be 5.
Can we discuss those?
It would be the assessment for the school, they need that additional money.
60s, whatever it was.
Yes,
Yep.
65,000.
Yep.
There's $13,000 that the liability insurance came in higher.
Yeah.
The way we did the, what do you call it, the cable committee's money was not the way it should have been. It should have been broken into 2.
Okay.
If free cash is determined by that time, I will bring forward a stabilization request, because we did not do one in the spring due to the fact that I was hesitant about the amount of money we were already using.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the amount of budgeted funds, I believe, if my numbers are correct, is approximately $170,000 in free cash. So, yep. And then if
How much is available?
we're anticipating approximately 600,000.
For free?
And that should be
Yeah, you better not.
certified by then.
Is this real wood?
Last
Yeah.
year it was certified by now, so,
Okay.
but this year
When do
with
we talk about an override?
the structural deficit working group is meeting next week. And that is the group that we will be talking about those different opportunities with. It's been a little discouraging to hear people immediately go to override. Who knows, maybe the structural deficit working group is a very bright group of individuals and they can figure something else out. From crunching the numbers, I think it's going to be very difficult, and this community may need an initiative on top of figuring something out. But those conversations are happening. It will not be occurring at the special town meeting.
Anything from planning?
That's what I'm waiting to find out. I'm hoping that Mark's leaving isn't going to
derail everything.
derail that. It won't derail everything, but it may cause an issue for that specific, the
farm one,
Farm
or,
one, yeah.
okay, what about any of the other ones that they've been working on?
none of the rest of them are ready for special town meeting, and there's one of them, the town center one, that I believe they were hesitant on
Yeah.
doing anywhere outside of an annual town meeting.
So to be clear, I think I heard you say there is no possibility of an override article getting on this warrant.
At the special town meeting? No.
Okay.
No, if there is any sort of initiative presented to you as a select board member by me and any staff that may be working with me, the earliest that would be is to be for consideration in the spring.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
If that is even,
Right.
even a thing.
Okay, thank you. Going to item D, and both of these can be contained in one motion, everybody, the rate increase for FY '24 as well as a contract with KP Law. And after taking care of any questions you might have, we would need a motion to accept or not accept what's been presented to us, so throw it out to you, any questions, and Nate?
Yeah, so basically, Tony and I have been doing a contract project. It is to understand what we have that is going to be expiring or has expired, and then at the end of it, it's going to be uploading all of them to the Laserfish portal so that the board and anyone interested at home can have an active view of public contracts. But while we were going through said contracts, a good number of them, including our legal contract, our IT services contract, our contract with Brittany Blaney Anderson, and a few more have been expired for at least 2 years, if not more. So we've been looking into it. I reached out to KP Law to see what was going on. This contract is identical to the last one, minus the changing of years and the changing of their rate, which was across the board for everybody. It does change. It's not a direct indicator of our legal bill going up, because our legal bill is more dependent on the amount of hours we use said legal counsel than it is about the number going up. Some things to take into consideration here are KP Law does do some training, like the training that I've been sending out, that is free of charge. They do 2 of those over the course of the year. Sometimes working with Carolyn is cheaper than working with a specialty attorney. So at this, my battery's running low, that's fine.
Do we ever take advantage of the trainings?
Yeah, there's one on the 14th.
Is it in person or?
It is in person.
Web-based?
It is in person at the
Who's
senior.
attending?
Hopefully a lot. I've been calling it the Board and Committee Summit. It's going to be a open meeting law training, because there are a few boards and committees that have been
Breaking the law.
not breaking the law, but
Not following the rules.
falling outside the parameters of the open meeting law.
Like a break of a song.
And let's make certain that they are there, please.
And then Candace, the town clerk, wants to go over some of the ways that she would like to see things processed, because have been a number of clerks over the last couple of years. Everybody does things different, not necessarily anyone is right or wrong, but I want to give Candace at least the chance to have boards and committees do things her way, so
Well, consistent.
consistent, yeah.
It should be the same for mostly all of them,
Yeah.
and it's not.
No. No. Alright, so you need a motion?
Yeah.
To accept or not.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to accept the FY '24 rate increase and the FY '24 contract for KP Law.
Motion is made, is there a second?
Second.
And seconded. Any further discussion or any questions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Yes.
Yes, opposed? Motion carried.
Here, I'm gonna print, oh, I'm not gonna
Nope,
print it.
you're not doing nothing. You should have plugged in, sir.
Yeah,
Why, what happened?
He
So-
died.
Huh?
His computer died.
I'll have to go print it before we leave.
Oh.
But it'll be fine.
I thought, oh, we have somebody on Zoom? Oh,
No,
okay, old business, I don't have anything, do we? Do you have anything, Nathan, for us?
not under old business. I have a TA report that I will open on my phone.
Okay,
Read it for me.
what a time to lose your script.
Yeah, I know. Fresh started.
Do you wanna just use my computer?
No, we're good.
Probably faster on the phone than it is on these things.
A little bit.
Yep. Dinosaurs.
Just gotta get there.
Is it me or does the calculator on there not have a percentage thing? Anybody realize
Chromebook,
that?
I don't use the calculator on that.
Or what do you
No,
use?
I use
My phone.
I use my phone.
Oh,
Alright, first and foremost, I would like to thank Mark Kresge for his year here. Even though he was only here for 1 year, the work he was able to do straightening out issues in the land use department was years worth of work. I'm bummed that I just learned how to say his name within the last 6 months,
Kresge,
so.
yeah.
But I hope that Mark continues to serve on the Open Space Committee and in a number of other ways. He's offered to help with a couple of the projects we have to close out together, such as the master plan, even after he's not here as an employee. So Mark is appreciated and the work that he's done has been great. He does have a great opportunity ahead of him to work in a career, in a field he's passionate about, so that's gonna be really good for him. Conversations I have been continuing in the town center project. There was a Facebook post on a local group that kind of went off.
they did.
So then I ended up with a few complaints that resulted in the engineers coming down this morning and taking a walk to a number of different locations, talking about different issues and ways we can resolve them. So I'm happy to report that of, let's call it 8 or 9 issues, 8 of them were solvable. So there are only a couple of things that couldn't be fixed by the engineer coming out, and I do apologize to the people watching from home about that. I hope that everyone will give this the opportunity to wait and see how it's actually gonna look when it's done. I understand right now that it is in a state of disrepair, and that's part of it. Anxiety and that kind of stuff. So it's gonna be pretty, I promise. I recently joined Superintendent Muha, Director Clark, Principal Cook, and Duffy, the building commissioner, on a walkthrough of the Hubbardson Center School. The point of this walkthrough was to get an idea of capital needs in an effort to have the school be part of our capital program. They seemed very open to it, and we did get a couple of project ideas. This is something that I'm hoping to do at least yearly, if not more regularly than that. I've also been working with a member of the board on potentially doing a facilities report from soup to nuts on everything to understand where we are and where we can go. Those type of initiatives unfortunately cost money, so we'll see how that can go when we get there. That I will likely be submitting a full facilities report to the Capital Improvement Planning Committee to see how they feel about it. The Boarding Committee Summit is on September 14th at 6 p.m. in the Senior Center. As I just stated, KP Law will be there giving a presentation on the open meeting law, and the town clerk will be there giving a presentation on some of the things she wants to see from the boarding committees in terms of posting and trainings, etc. It will also be an opportunity for each chair or member of the boards and committees to update everyone else on what's going on in their world. As I spoke of at your last meeting, I believe, I've launched a community choice capital program. I've yet to receive any submissions, but I feel that it is important to let the community, at the very least, have an opportunity to submit what they would like to see. If even one idea comes out of this that's worthwhile, then the whole project was worth it. Hubbardston Fire gave a end of August update on Facebook announcing that they've had 526 calls for service this year. That is ahead of every other year with 4 months remaining. So that is a lot of increase for the Hubbardston Fire Department. My last episode of Hubbardston Headlines had the new Hubbardston Center School principal, Aaron Cook, on. It was a nice conversation and a great opportunity to meet the new principal. I think she's very, very open to working with us and making sure that the partnership is there. The chief and his fellow police officers have been ensuring that the drop-off and pickup situation with the 5 buses driving through our parking lot twice daily has been going as smooth as it possibly can. So that's been all right. Katie and her crew did a wonderful job at the Dinghy Dash. I thank everybody that came to that, and I thank Katie for giving me the opportunity to be a judge. I had a great time. The weather was perfect, and that was great. As I emailed you, Treasurer Collector Mary Markowski got into a finance seminar class with the Mass Municipal Association. It's a competitive course that not everybody gets into, so I'm happy for her to be able to go to that for a number of Fridays. The town is paying for the course, but Mary will not be putting in for the time that she goes on the Fridays, because it's a mixed bag. Like, yes, it's for her career, but it's also very positive for her just regular life.
Resume.
Yeah. Chief Kuchar attended the Central Massachusetts Chief Conference 2 weeks ago. That is a conference where they talked about challenging with hiring and maintaining staff as well as leadership. Mary and Bobby went to Treasurer Collector School and took their Treasurer Collector's test. We will see in a few months how they did. It is a very, very challenging examination that has not been updated with the times. So they took an archaic test, and I hope they passed. Mary, Library Director Chris Barbera, and I are currently enrolled in a 3-month cybersecurity training. We get points with the state for doing this, and it was a grant that you guys had accepted shortly after I got here. It's been a little while for that. I sent out on the town website earlier today that I have updated the town inventory, and it is on the town administrator website. The charter states that the town inventory must be updated yearly. The last time it was updated was 2019. Fortunately for me, the town hasn't bought too much between then and now, so that's all been updated.
Awfully lot of state land on there.
There is a ton of state land
And
down
we're
there.
not getting paid for it properly.
There is a ton of state land. I did look into that with Francois.
Francois?
It's not as easy as we think, but we're gonna have another conversation and see how that goes. I
Excellent.
would like to remind you and everyone sitting at home to sign up for RAVE. It's a reverse 911 from the town. We used to have a different reverse 911. It went away. I feel like people should take better advantage of it. We're going to be using it to let people know about elections and town meetings and just general emergencies. So there's information on the town website and at the town hall and on the big wall sign. That's all I have for this evening, unless anyone has any questions. Thank you.
Does it do like severe weather and all that other stuff?
It does whatever we put into it and tell it to send.
Cause I get the one from Rutland and it
Yeah.
does all that stuff.
Yep, it does.
And what's it called? Rave?
Rave.
Sounds like a good time.
Yeah, it's a great time.
What do you do? How do you get it? What is it?
I will give you
There's
the
a
form.
website,
You just
and you put your phone number in.
try to,
So we can remind you to vote.
it's free, right?
Yep,
Yep.
yep, it's free.
Thank you.
It's technically called the Rutland Regional.
Yeah.
So I already have it if it's through them.
Yeah.
But I just need to add it to our town one so I get
Mhm.
the town stuff.
Yeah,
So,
I would imagine so,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, anything else? Okay. Policies, I don't think we have any.
Nothing this
Okay.
evening.
Matters not reasonably anticipated by the chair, it's not a matter. Could we get, from Travis, cause either at our next meeting or the very first one in October, in the past, we usually have him come in and let us know, what shape are we in for the coming winter.
Mm-hmm.
Both in terms of equipment, in terms of the salt, and personnel, right now.
I
we only-
wanna say
we're
that's
down
a
to 3
little
people.
later, cause I was here when he did that last year, and I
Mm-hmm.
got here at the end of November.
I'll just tell them to start getting it together
Yeah.
then,
Yeah,
maybe.
just, cause I'm concerned just because of the shortage of the people.
Yeah.
An update on that, I'm now on probably the
You gonna drive a truck? No?
4th revision of that intermunicipal agreement, offer to the DPW union.
Still.
So it's gone back and forth, there are only 3 of them, I'm working with their union representative
Yeah.
to the best of my ability, but we can
What are you
only,
negotiating,
Contract.
Contract?
well, we're not,
Contract? How
we're
long's
not
it been?
negotiating the contract quite yet.
Okay.
The contract's about to open, we're still going back and forth on that one thing that the board gave me permission to look into
Okay.
2 months ago.
Yeah.
3 months ago.
Alright.
Still not working, so, yeah.
Okay, anything else for,
I got some.
go ahead.
I just wanna put it out there to the Hubbardston, fire department and the police department that I don't think people realize how much they really do go above and beyond for not only residents, but anybody that just happens to be in town. Not only were they there for the dinghy dash out there in the boat, and one of the fire department got his boots like he was in the water, totally soaked, poor guy. But they're out there making sure all of our events go off, whether it's the Lions or, you know, one of mine, or the road races, or, you know, for the library, anything like that. They do such an excellent job going above and beyond to make sure everything is smooth and everyone is safe. But it's like the extra things, like this weekend, when I was at Plainview, and this poor mother was beside herself, she was with her 2 small children, and she had accidentally locked her keys in her car. And there was a gentleman
AAA.
there that was, well, that's what everybody says, call AAA. Well, you know, our police department will come unlock you for nothing. But nobody knows that. As long as they're not busy with something, like obviously a car accident or something. But there was somebody there that tried to pop her door with a Slim Jim, and to no avail, and Officer Hackler came out, and he calmed her down and got her all situated and popped her door. I don't think people realize how much these guys and ladies go above and beyond to make sure everybody's fine.
Yep.
You know, so the poor woman was much better after that, but she was just,
Newer
Yeah.
cars don't let you lock your keys in them, so.
I know, it happens though, she was with her small
It
children
does.
and got
Well,
distracted.
she's busy, yeah.
Yep, but they just, like I said, I just wanna make sure that everybody's aware how much they go above and beyond for our residents, so, and non-residents, just town in general. So, that's all, thank you to them.
I have just one question on the fire department. I read all these other towns getting grants for a lot of stuff. Where are we with grants for the fire department? Who writes the grants?
The fire department grants are written by Troy and the chief.
Okay.
And we've
Do
done.
we have any grant requests out there right now?
Yeah, there requests out there, yes.
Okay.
With the FY24 budget taking as long as it did.
Yeah.
24, most of the grants are based upon the state budget year.
Okay.
So you'll start seeing more grants, both
25.
positive and
Okay, cause I
Soon.
I happen to read other towns getting this, getting that, and I'm like, well, we get shit.
we definitely
I'm not
apply
like this.
for everything that.
Yeah, that's all.
Well, that's a good, you know, I was kinda thinking the same thing, I mean, just in general, I mean,
Yeah. There's a lot of money out there.
where do you go to see what's available, and do we pursue that here as a town? based, you know, not just fire department, but police department, DPW, you know, recreation, all that kind of stuff?
So you can go to a number of different websites. There is a centralized hub at the state level. Some of the nonprofit or like large federal grants do have to be searched for, and I'm actually going and taking a afternoon course on the 18th on grant seeking and administration. So
Nice.
we'll see how that goes. I don't think it's gonna let all the floodwaters out, but hopefully it'll
mean,
teach me something.
We've been fortunate, over the last several years too, and I'll mention Travis as a
Yeah.
perfect example.
Yeah,
Because we don't have one person who was hired
for
to
grant
be,
writing.
for grant writing.
All right.
And we've had our own, people, and
He's done
Travis,
well.
on their own initiative, who've done
Mhm.
searching and have found it and applied it themselves and got us the money.
I mean, this year alone, I
But
mean,
what,
they've released a lot of money for roads and bridges and
right,
everything else, so.
right, you know, I'm sure Chief is, you know, fire-specific grants, and I'm sure
Yeah.
Travis is DPW
Yeah.
specific, but I'm sure there's a lot of grants out there, just like I said, for anything,
Yeah.
recreation,
Yeah, update
right?
computers.
Everything
this.
I get or find, I shoot off to the specific department head and let them know we've had a meeting about it. Like, if you cannot apply for this because you don't have the bandwidth, let me know and I'll work with you.
Yeah,
I don't necessarily have the bandwidth either,
Right, right, right.
but I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
and I'm hoping that the land use clerk, if that's the route we end up going, I've also been talking to other municipalities about potentially proposing regional planning initiatives, will spend a lot of their time outside of their set of administrative duties, applying for planning grants and the direct local technical assistance grants, because that's where there is a lot of money. And if you don't have the ideas ready, you don't even qualify for it, because you need to have
Shovel ready.
not shovel ready per se, but you, and some of them you do,
Yeah.
but on that specific, like planning grants, you do need something that's at least a little more formulated than just, hey, listen to my idea.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
Well, the
isn't there a lot of?
The Montechusett Regional
Yeah.
Group is a perfect example,
Yeah.
and is the town center project. It's eight years ago, I mean,
Yeah,
one of the, and 8 years may seem like a long time, but I remember going to the meetings at Fitchburg with Ryan and so forth. One of the reasons, fortunately for us, that the project was not only accepted, but got pushed up by this group, for the grant, was because we were ready and everything was done and ready to go, and that
Yeah.
pushed us right up on top of the list.
yeah, if you dot your i's,
Just-
cross your
yeah.
t's, it's a lot easier.
Just because
Yeah.
all the preliminary work had been done, and so there's
It's
a
all
very
about
good
being
example of that.
prepared.
And I'm
Right.
meeting with the Collins Center tomorrow to review the accepted goals and see how they could fit into a community compact grant. Cause I called the Collins Center last week and told them, hey, I'm interested in actually going for something, not just taking one of the low-hanging fruits to get a grant. So
Sure.
if I can get something big, I'd like to. So we're meeting tomorrow to see what that would mean.
Good.
And the Collins Center does work with people on it, and they're not perfect, but they are a better oiled machine than something like the MRPC,
Mhm.
who we met with last week to discuss our frustration with that we are now on year 17, 18,
5.
19, 20, 21, 22, 6 of
Six,
the
yeah.
master plan. I let them know that we were not paying them the $5,000 from last year that was supposed to get us from when Sandy was the interim to finishing. They will not be getting that. I've already let Kelly know that that was being taken out of our coffers, so we can look forward to that as free cash next year. But
What about the EDC one?
people are working on it. Like, they're,
Yep.
Really?
it's.
Yeah.
that's
Oh my god, that's been going for 5 years.
unfortunately.
4
we're-
anyways.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been quite the while.
So my understanding of that opportunity is that we're one good review away from being able to bring it
Well,
forward.
that's the farm
Good.
one, not the town
Not the town
center.
center.
Yeah, there's two.
Yeah, the town
Okay.
center was before the farm one.
Yeah, the town center started before the farm one.
Yeah.
It's like, geez, oh.
Yep,
Yep,
oh well.
yeah, no, good stuff. Always
Okay.
good stuff.
Anything else not anticipated by the chair? Seeing none, public press, seeing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Motion made to adjourn,
Second.
second, all in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.